It's such a shame. It's such a shame.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to King Watch LA. This is Daniel Beltz, your host, and not loving what I'm seeing from the Los Angeles Lakers as of late. A lot of lack of effort from certain players. A lot of missed defensive assignments. It just seems like this team's not as deep as we hoped, and it's hard to say that when two out of your three best players are out, as in Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder. But it's ugly basketball right now. I think this is the second straight game where we haven't scored over 100 points, and that's a little shocking to me, just based off of the kind of pace LeBron was playing at, the shooters I thought we had in the offseason. But tough loss against the Heat. We lost against the hell did we play last? Nets. So back-to-back losses against the Nets and the Heat, who will both be in the Eastern Conference playoffs, looking to get to the finals. And I don't know, just it didn't seem like the Lakers were ever going to win tonight, no matter how many runs they went on late to kind of get the game close. It was just not what you thought you would see basketball-wise. I think we've lost 3 of 4. Some of the players we were banking on taking that leap, hoping that would step up in the absence of Dennis Schroeder and Anthony Davis, aren't stepping up. It's kind of just, it's ugly basketball to watch. You go on Twitter, you go on talk shows. It's not fun watching Laker basketball right now. And I know we're coming off a championship, banner number 17, but I don't know. We aren't the number 1 seed in the West. We aren't looking as kind of dominant as we were last year. We started at 22-3, 24-3, something crazy like that, where we were so far ahead of the rest of the Western Conference that we went on that 4-game skid to kind of end December last year. None of it really mattered since we were so far ahead out West. This season, I think we'll be lucky to keep the number 2 spot, since Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder will be out. Dennis Schroeder's out, 2 or 3 more games, and AD's out for the rest of the month. And who knows when he'll be back. But yeah, even though it's kind of not fun to watch Lakers basketball right now, I mean, they're still battling in most of the games. The only game I think we felt like we were out of the entire time was the Nets, because LeBron's going to keep you in most games versus most NBA teams, because he's that good. I wouldn't call him the MVP of the season anymore. He's definitely top 2, top 3 in the voting, but you got to give it up for what Dame and for what Joel Embiid have done over the course of the entire year. Dame's been fighting without CJ and Nurk for a while, and the numbers he's putting up, the team is doing amazing. And tonight, Bron had a tough game. Didn't really look to score late in the fourth, which it's kind of hard to do when you're getting doubles and the defense is kind of shifting towards you, wanting the other 4 guys on the court to beat you. The Lakers were basically playing 4-on-3 for a while, since 2 guys are going to LeBron off the dribble, off the pick and roll. Guys have to make open shots. I believe we were 15 of 49 or 43 threes tonight, and I believe we're now 26th in threes for the entire season. So it's not, for whatever reason, and it's happened for a while, shooters kind of forget how to shoot once they play for the Lakers, and we're 26th in the NBA in three-point shooting, which should not happen, since most of those looks will be wide open because of the gravity LeBron, Anthony Davis, or Dennis have when they're out there on the court. A lot of the threes from KCP, Wes, Caruso, THT, Markieff, Gasol are wide open threes, and they're just missing the hell out of them. KCP before tonight was in a big shooting slump. Tonight, I think he made 3 threes, which hasn't happened in a while. And honestly, for the first half as well, he looked disinterested in playing the game of NBA basketball, but still made some shots. But outside of that, we're definitely not shooting as great as we had hoped that this team would, especially after the start of the season when KCP, Caruso, and many others were on fire. I think Kuzma was the only one struggling. Now it kind of flipped. Everyone else is kind of struggling while Kuzma is kind of like finding his own lane. And without the emergence of Kyle Kuzma, we'd be even more in trouble than kind of what the next 4 or 5 games will kind of be. We're still going to make the playoffs. We'll still be a top 3, top 4 seed out west. I assume 2 or 3. We're going to play probably the Clippers in the second round. I think we'll be all right come playoff time. I don't see a team beating Anthony Davis and LeBron James 4 out of 7 games in the West. So for that, on that front, we're okay. No one needs to panic. We don't need to act like this team isn't going to be playing meaningful minutes in the Western Conference Finals, in the NBA Finals. But just some of the on-court stuff is concerning, and some of it's just, as a fan, you don't want to watch bad basketball for 3 or 4 straight games. And when you're getting that, when you're getting kind of just, what's it called? When you're kind of just getting, before the All-Star game, you're kind of getting lazy. You're kind of not wanting to be out there. You're wanting to be with family or doing your own thing, especially for a team that was in the bubble for as long as the Lakers were. You could see some of these guys just not there mentally. And that's what you're seeing on the basketball court. In the first half, when kind of the defensive lapses were happening, you saw no one talking on the basketball court. You saw, I believe it was Kuzma and was it Wes? It was when Duncan Robinson made the back cut to get a layup instead of going to the three-point line. They didn't even communicate. They didn't even look to do shit. And we are now joined by notorious Laker hater, TPJ. They didn't even come.
Yo, what up, G? I'm watching you live. Hold on, wait a minute. Let me pause you. What's good, bro? Y'all out there getting y'all ass dusted. I love it. I love it. What?
It's wild. It's wild. I didn't think this would happen. I thought we were going to beat the Heat soundly.
Why you think y'all was going to beat the Heat without AD?
Just because I thought this was the game LeBron might get up for.
You lied. This is definitely not a game he was going to get up for. That man was trying to go to sleep. He trying to take a break, and they trying to make him play more basketball. You sit up here thinking y'all was going to be successful. It's not for the workout, man. How you doing tonight, though?
Pretty good. On the Lakers, I sit LeBron at least a week. Why is he going to play versus the Jazz?
How you get there? Why shouldn't he play versus the Jazz? Why shouldn't LeBron play versus the Jazz? Pappy right here too. Daniel over here panicking right now. Full scale panic. Pappy, talk to this man. Tell bro ass to stop panicking.
Y'all on the internet?
He's live right now. What do you mean?
What's up, bro?
Tell him to stop panicking, bro.
What's going on?
Nothing much. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm in the studio.
I'm actually
finishing.
Studio.
I'm finishing up songs about women.
It's pretty dope. You guys watch the game?
Yes, parts of it.
Parts of it. I can't really speak to it. I will say this. I looked at LeBron. I didn't watch the game, but the first thing when I saw the score was I went straight to LeBron's shooting percentage, and I chuckled. Can you explain what happened as far as that goes?
He didn't care about getting to the rim at all.
He said LeBron needed a week off.
Went to the rim twice. Didn't get a foul call. After that, he was shooting threes.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I didn't see it. I just saw the shooting percentage, and I wondered what it was 33% from the field, and what?
Yeah, it was
17% from three.
He's still the MVP?
Yeah. No, hell no.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Why? That fast? Come on, man.
Just
you switched up on the gang that fast?
They lost one game, huh?
We've lost three or four, actually.
Exactly. Hey,
It's the regular season.
It's the regular season. I agree with my man's Eli.
But you can't be with those numbers if you're not seed out west.
Yeah, I agree.
He has the media narrative. You know, I think PJ Carlissimo or something said the other day it would be a disgrace if LeBron doesn't win MVP.
If he don't win MVP, it would be a disgrace if he does win MVP.
But I'm just saying, LeBron is the media narrative this year.
It's a goddamn man. Hey, look. Joel Embiid been out there. Joel been out there flaming him up. Kawhi been playing mad. If the Clippers get the number 1 seed, Kawhi deserves some consideration there too. You don't want to hear that, but I believe that. I believe that as well.
I think LeBron will win just from the media narrative.
I don't think there's any chance.
You don't think so? You think LeBron has no chance of winning the MVP this year?
He'll finish top three, but first, no.
I mean, I hate to say it, but if not that Zach Lowe's the end all be all, but if he's saying he's voting for LeBron, like, I feel
Man,
like that's the media narrative.
Zach, you care about what Zach Lowe think?
I'm just saying.
Well,
that-
actually, you probably do. So never mind.
No,
I'm
just
sorry.
saying. I'm saying.
I'm
That
sorry.
I think he's plugged in enough that if he's saying that, a lot of voters are thinking that.
Right now,
Well,
right now, it's been 30 games.
I'm not saying I personally agree. I'm just saying I think that voters will. You know what I mean?
All right, Daniel, how you feel about that?
How I feel about LeBron being MVP?
Yeah, you think it's no chance?
It just depends on how the rest goes. But as of now, I'd say he's third.
What do you?
But Daniel, I guess my question. I'm serious. My question, not so much what do you think of your personal opinion, but do you think there's any validity that sometimes MVP comes due to a narrative from the media that's not necessarily backed by the stats, and somebody just takes hold of that, and then I feel like LeBron is kind of campaigning like I deserve the last two, and this is my year.
I mean, wasn't Giannis last year? Wasn't it a narrative last year, to be honest?
I mean,
yeah, and he won.
Yeah,
That's
but
interesting.
they also had the number one seed out east. They also had the best record overall. The Lakers won't have that.
yeah, but Daniel, it said my connection is unstable, so I don't know what that means. But it says my connection is unstable. Am I coming up bad on your end?
Not really.
All right, well, cool. Well, I mean, we'll keep rocking out for now. But in terms of kind of moving forward, as we know, guys got no AD. How do you feel about that? Because I haven't talked to you about this. What do you think about Anthony Davis? Do you think that it's worth the risk to actually have him play out there on the floor? What do you anticipate over the next month, essentially, where you all don't have him, on the sidelines? I mean, he's been out there, he's coaching, but he don't look as good with a tablet in his hand as he does with a basketball. So, thoughts?
I think us missing Dennis is bad as missing AD.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Just
You think Dennis Schroeder has been that good of a and that valuable at point guard for you all this year?
I'd say not
Better
as
than
excited
Rondo
as
last
Dennis
year?
is. We're missing two scores. It's hard to be without both of those, which is Dennis Schroeder and AD.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say we'd be able to survive without AD if Dennis is playing.
Uh-huh.
But since Dennis is out, it's kind of hard to argue without both of them.
That's understandable. Do you miss Danny Green?
No.
You miss Rajon Rondo?
Yeah, but he hasn't been playing that well in Atlanta.
Yeah, because he went to Atlanta to retire.
He ain't really played in Atlanta either.
He went to Atlanta to go to Atlanta. The Atlanta Hawks are a retirement community. That's what they are at this point.
I missed Dwight.
I told you was gonna miss Dwight. I told y'all was gonna miss Dwight. You can't lose Dwight and JaVale. You can lose Dwight or JaVale. You can't lose both. Honestly, if the Cavs cut JaVale, y'all should go back and get JaVale. Also, don't go get Boogie. I don't want to see that.
I don't really either.
He doesn't help anything. Marc Gasol is not. He's still feet out
They
there.
might need Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond, Andre G.
That's not fair.
Bro, wait a minute. Oh, stop, bro, G. How are you getting a rebound with Andre Drummond,
That's not fair.
Anthony Davis, and LeBron James
That's
on the
not
same
fair.
floor?
Now that's not fair.
How are you
That's
getting a
not fair.
rebound?
Cleveland's trying to trade him.
How are you getting a
They're
rebound?
literally sitting him out.
How are you getting a rebound with Andre Drummond, Anthony Davis, and LeBron on the floor? That's ridiculous, G. That's like 45 rebounds in the front court every night.
Dre gonna beat it. the
I'd
rest of
trade Kuzma for him right now.
I mean,
Kuzma, like,
I'm not mad at
They don't
that.
have no first round.
You gotta give some
No,
up.
they do that. They have like a 2022 first round.
I'm not upset at that.
Kuzma in the first.
I need to use my charger real quick.
You guys
That's
would
cool.
trade for Andre Drummond?
Yeah. Would you?
I'm not mad at that.
Kuzma for Drummond.
Yeah, but salary cap wise, would that work out? I don't know.
No.
But
They
at
could
this,
throw back some filler, right?
yeah, they probably could. I mean, I think that would be a very interesting trade for the Lakers. I think that once again makes them the dominant, option in,
And Davis doesn't have to
yeah,
play
exactly.
center,
Yeah.
Because he doesn't want to bang down there, right?
Yep. So, all right, Daniel, I'm finna get up out of here, man. I appreciate you. I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna talk Lakers with you. The only reason why it's an echo, if you hear echo, is because we on the laptop and we just at the studio and Daniel and I was tapped in to just send Daniel a private chat. But yeah, man, keep doing what you're doing. I'm glad to see you back doing this King Watch thing. We gonna keep working at this. You got to come down to LA, by the way, for a weekend, so that way we can shoot some stuff and get some stuff that's gonna be super dope. You know, shoot a couple
We
commercials.
also got to play
and stuff for King
basketball.
Watch.
I saw Pat getting up some shots. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to come cover a Clippers game? I'm serious. You
I
can
can talk to Zubak. Yeah.
pick a Clippers game and let us know which one you want to cover. You can come cover it. It's very easy to get in. I will drive you down there and point you to the doors. Find the section and sit at the table. Like, it's not like it was before. Before you had to go, you know what I mean? If you,
Before it was amazing.
yeah. So if you want to cover a Clippers game, you're not covering Clippers Lakers because I want one of them this year, and I know Pavi gonna want the other one. But if you want to cover a Clippers game, feel free. Anytime you want to, you can always come down to LA, cover Clippers game. They will make you wear your face mask the entire game.
Cool.
But it's open anytime. But Lakers fans, I will say this: your roster is very good this year if healthy. If not healthy, pray. If Anthony Davis tears his Achilles, pray. But also pray because LeBron at the same point in time might have to shoulder a lot more to load. I don't know how that's gonna work out for a guy at his age. We haven't seen that before. He's also playing.
Sounds good.
Yeah, but he's also playing more minutes a game than a lot of guys that are 20 years old, 22 years old.
Really?
So I'll get up with you later, man. We appreciate you. Shout out to my man Daniel Beltz. Make sure you all follow him online, King Watch LA. He will be the voice of the Lakers one day. And we're gonna keep rocking. We're gonna remember these days. We only getting started. He back now. Every week he back now. Every week. 365. He back. Get ready. King Watch. It's coming for you. LeBron, he coming for you. AD, he better be coming for you. Because if he ain't coming for you, y'all better be worried. But I'm out of here. I'll get up with you later, man. Peace.
Yeah, so I hope you guys don't hear the echo as much anymore. But with AD being out, I think this team could survive with Anthony Davis being out because we have Schroeder, we have LeBron, we have Kuz, we have THT, we have all these other guys. But if you take out Dennis Schroeder as well as AD, I tweeted this last week, where is the offense going to come from? Because you're taking away 40 points a game with AD and Dennis Schroeder both being out. And you look at the rest of the roster, we don't really have that many shot creators outside of Braun, AD, and Schroeder. So that's tasked with LeBron James. And you saw the Heat do tonight. They kind of just said, hey, the Lakers are in a shooting slump. Let's make the rest of the team kind of make shots to beat us. And the stretches where we made runs, we were making threes. The stretches where the Heat would go on a run is when we either turn the ball over or miss a wide open shot. So the Heat game plan for Dennis and AD being out very well. Like, they took advantage of our weakness, which was currently 3-point shooting and shot creatability. You saw KCP, you saw Wes trying to do some things that they shouldn't do. Wes in the first half was trying to, I saw him dribble like 10 straight times. And I haven't watched a game in 5+ years where Wes dribbles that much. And I'm like, what the hell is he doing? And I believe it either resulted in a turnover or a contested mid-range, which you don't want to see Wes Matthews doing. And even with the game-winning shot where LeBron didn't touch the ball between, I believe we were down 2 with like 30 seconds to go, LeBron didn't touch the ball. You saw Marc Gasol and Wes run an action. Wes took an off-the-dribble 3 moving. And if LeBron James is on your team, you kind of want a better shot than a off-the-dribble 3-point shot for Wes Matthews. Just as if you want a better shot than a Caruso long 2 to tie it, to send it to overtime. There's just a lot of stuff the Lakers did. Just they're playing like a very stupid basketball team. They have enough talent to win games without Schroeder and AD, but they have to play smart to win it. And for a championship team that's kind of hungover, that's kind of not taking the regular season serious, that's kind of just biding time till the playoffs, those factors all mixing together, this team's going to kind of struggle without 2 of their 3 leading scorers, and you're seeing the result kind of happen. Like I said earlier, thankfully, Kyle Kuzma has stepped up scoring-wise, defense-wise, rebounding the ball-wise, because if he had not, these games are kind of winnable if the Lakers kind of flip the switch late in the fourth and go on a incredible run. Then you kind of have a chance to win. But if Kuzma doesn't kind of give us whatever he's giving us now, those 4 to 6 point differentials might be 15 to 20. Unless Markieff, KCP, Wes, Gasol, etc. start shooting the ball better. And beginning of the season, we saw a lot of promise from THT in some of the games where it was when AD, LeBron, and Dennis were all playing. So it's kind of easier to go off and kind of get easier looks when those three are playing. When 2 of the 3 aren't playing, the defense kind of can focus on you a little bit more. So the things that THT likes to do, the defense can kind of game plan towards that better. He wants to get to the rim. He wants to finish acrobatically. They're kind of doing a better job of sagging off. I believe this was his first 3-point shot that he made tonight in a while. So you can kind of see teams starting to get the game plan on certain players on this Los Angeles Lakers team, especially with certain players out. So we can survive without AD. I just don't know if we can survive many games without both Dennis and AD, because not only are they our 2 of our best scorers on offense, they're probably our 2 best defenders. Our 3 best offensive players are our 3 best defensive players. Dennis, AD, and LeBron on both sides of the ball. That's why if we're going to play the Jazz, that's just a game where I don't think we're going to win. So to kind of manage LeBron's minutes, because he's playing a lot, he's not taking as much rest as he used to. He's playing a lot more minutes, like TPJ said, than guys half his age basically right now. So if we want him fresh during playoff time, we got to figure out how to manage his minutes in kind of ways that makes sense for the short term and both the long term. Yes, it'll probably be a national TV game, but the playoffs to me are more important than the regular season, and I believe every Laker fan can kind of agree with that as well. But yeah, hopefully Dennis comes back soon, which is what Aesthetic Sounds asked. I believe he's coming back next Friday versus the Blazers, which is going to be a hell of a game to come back for. You're playing Dame, who's playing, in my opinion, as best as any NBA player this season has played. We were saying LeBron's MVP to begin the season, and why I don't think he wins MVP, I'll touch on that just for a little bit. Why LeBron James had a chance to be MVP was, I believe we were going to be neck and neck with the Jazz record-wise going to the end of the season and kind of ahead of whatever East team was out there. And he's going to be leading in a lot of statistical categories for the Lakers. So I thought, if we stay close to the Jazz don't have a player. I don't think Mitch or Rudy will kind of command those MVP votes. So best player on maybe the first, second best team wins MVP a lot of the years. So that's why I thought LeBron James could MVP. It's not a narrative thing. It's just how things work out. That's why Zach Lowe and all these other media heads came out with their MVP rankings, I think before the Lakers lost 3 of 4 and without the news of AD being out for a month. Yes, we had won games without AD before, but that was, I believe, against teams that are like way below 500. Now we're playing teams a little bit better. The Heat's record isn't what their team will be once the season ends. They just came off a finals appearance. They're a really good team when all their players are healthy. So that's why you kind of have to like take context into certain things. The Miami Heat are not the Detroit Pistons or the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Heat have a well-balanced team. They have Bam, they have Jimmy. Those two right there are better than any players from the Pistons or the Thunder or etc. that we've played without AD before. So if Bron could have won a couple of these games without AD against teams above 500, then yes, he's still in that MVP category because we're still neck and neck with the Jazz for the record. Now with a couple of games coming up that look like kind of a toss-up if both Dennis and AD are out. That's going to diminish LeBron's MVP campaign. He's probably going to rest at some point this season just because at what point does him getting meaningless minutes in the regular season game without AD and Dennis come into factor? Why is he out there in a game we're probably going to lose? Why not give him a night's rest since he's shouldering a lot of minutes, a lot of responsibility, both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And as the Clippers fan said, elephant in the room is LeBron plays on defense. He does. It's just his defense is dictated on whether or not he's getting, in his opinion, foul calls during the game. Because if he's not getting the foul call, he's not going to hustle back on defense in transition. And then you see a lot of him just standing around in half-court sets. You saw it tonight. I believe it was Kelly Olynyk beat him off the dribble, and I was confused. I didn't know who the hell was beating LeBron off the dribble. I look up, and it's Kelly Olynyk, and that should never happen for LeBron James. Kelly Olynyk should not beat you to the basket. I don't care what is going on for that to happen. You should not be getting beat by Kelly Olynyk. Also, Braun in 2 straight possessions didn't think he got the foul call and decided not to get back on defense, which you can't do if you're trying to win games without 2 of your 3 best players. But yeah, that's, in my opinion, LeBron's MVP campaign right now. Right now, I would have Dame, LeBron, Kawhi, and Embiid all in the top 4 for MVP voting. However you vote, go for it. I'm not here to chastise or hate on certain people's MVP voting. You like who you like, and that is what it is. And I just want to give a shout out to Christopher Hall's parents, especially during this time. People in the medical field, you guys are the heroes of basically this whole entire operation. You guys are on the front lines trying to treat as many patients as you can. So for both Regina and Steve Hall, our prayers are with you, and keep doing what you're doing. And also just hopefully, Chris, you're all right with dealing with kind of being the head family member right now, since both of your parents are probably exhausted. So shout out to you, shout out to your family, and yeah. And no, I don't think the Lakers play better without LeBron. I think that's just a myth. The ball might move more, but the looks, LeBron gets the rest of the team. How this team fights with LeBron on the court when he's locked in. This team is obviously better with LeBron James with it, but yeah. Let's get into some more topics for tonight. Let's see. Some post-game reactions that I had tonight was Caruso has to do more, in my opinion. You can't just be the hustle guy if people are injured. You have to step up your game because the rest of the team needs it. You can't just continue to do the things that you do with AD, with Dennis Schroeder there. You need to kind of take more of a role, especially in a contract year. And if you can't do that in a contract year, then you're not going to get the money you were looking for. You're not going to look as good as you were when both those other 2 players are there. Would like to see Caruso run a little bit more of the offense when LeBron's not out there, or when LeBron just simply needs a rest. But yeah, THT also, the strides he was hitting earlier in the season, the what's it called? The kind of leaps he was taking offensively, defensively has kind of gone to shit. THT gets lost way too often on defense for my liking, especially if we're going to trust him in a playoff game. There are a lot of times, especially in the Nets game, you saw THT sag off Joe Harris. I'm pretty sure on every single person's scouting report, it says, play Joe Harris close. Do not give him space to shoot an open 3. And he kept getting open 3 after open 3 after open 3 on the THT. Tonight you saw as well, I believe it was THT went to Iguodala in the corner instead of staying with Duncan Robinson, and Duncan Robinson splashed a 3. It's just a lot of mind-boggling mental lapses for a young player that I just didn't think he would have. Just watching him earlier in the season, some of the G League season last year, Very smart player, has a lot of talent, has a lot of the intangibles. It's just for certain periods of stretches, he gets lost on defense. And again, I'm going to stress on this probably the entire podcast. Without Dennis, without AD, you have to play smart basketball to win games against teams above 500 or against teams that will be playing during the playoff time. And that's not what this team is doing. I don't know if Frank needs to give them time off or if he needs to make them practice more. I don't know what the goal for this, I don't know what the fix or the solution is for this team. But again, as TPG said earlier, when the Lakers are healthy, I don't see a team beating them. I don't see even the Nets, even the Nets, Clippers, Jazz. When the Lakers are healthy, I don't see a team beating us. Yes, people are correct when they say the Lakers won't win a championship without AD, but you can say that about any team, about their two best players. You cannot win a championship without your top 1A or 1B player. So it's not like rocket science. Without AD, LeBron doesn't look as good as he is. The rest of the team doesn't look as good as he is, or they are. And vice versa. AD doesn't look as good without LeBron. And Dennis doesn't look as good as without LeBron. It goes hand in hand. It's tough in the NBA. They're NBA players. They are looking to beat the defending champions every single night. The defending champions will always have a target on their back. The Lakers brand will probably always have a target on their back since they are the 7-time world champs. The market they're in, the media attention they get. So everyone's always looking to kind of take their best shot against the Lakers. That's why you saw Kendrick Nunn get 27 plus points tonight. He played amazing. In my opinion, the Heat kind of play better when he's playing instead of Dragic. Only because on defense they don't have to play zone. When the Heat don't have to play zone, they're actually a really good defensive team because then Bam and Jimmy get to do what they do and play great one-on-one defense and then kind of help over after instead of having to play in a zone and then that shit just kind of goes to whack. But like obviously Dragic fills a role. It's just I feel when Nunn's on the court, they're kind of solid from all over. But that's just I don't watch the Heat enough to make a correct prediction of that. It's just what I've seen the 5, 6, 7, 8 times we've played them in the past years. But yeah. And I want to say shout out to Kyle Kuzma. Whatever the hell happened after the first 5 or 6 games where he just kind of said, F it, I'm going to attack the glass for as many times as I can, because even he said after last year, he just kind of didn't know what he was like his role. And I believe he's kind of Kuzma found whatever he was going to do to contribute to this team winning. Crash glass, play defense, and hit shots. And that's what he's done ever since, I believe, the 6th or 7th game to start the season. He's been on one hell of a run. He's getting double-doubles here and there. He's locking people up. He's scoring when AD, LeBron, and Dennis are out. So the contract we gave Kuz, if we can get this kind of production from Kuz going forward for the next 3 or 4 years, we are in a great space because you can kind of see him just realize his opportunity on the basketball court. Kind of, I don't want to say a Lamar Odom or Ginobili type player that's going to be starting some games, be coming off the bench some games, but he's going to be getting 25 to 30 plus minutes each game. That's a role in the NBA. That is just a role in the NBA that you kind of can't undervalue. A certain player that knows he could be starting on 20 other teams in the league, but he's coming off your bench or starting because of players injured. Like he's playing a fantastic role. And if we're going to criticize one of Kuzma's off nights, we should criticize LeBron tonight. Way too passive for my liking. Missed a lot of shots that, I don't think he should be taking. A lot of those pull-up threes after he turned the ball over the possession before, I don't like. I believe that happened 2 or 3 times tonight. Like the previous possession, you turn the ball over. Then you kind of then you dribble the ball up court right after you turn the ball over and shoot a three and it goes way off. Like I don't know. I don't like that. That's just me. I want this team to get easy looks. I want this team to score as many times as we can. I don't know the last time we had 2 straight games of scoring under 300. Actually, I'm gonna look that up because the scoring productivity is just kind of awful for my liking. Let's see. Scored 98, we scored 94, and we barely got over 104 the previous game, and 105 versus the Nuggets. So it hasn't been good. Playing better teams, we have not looked kind of how we should be looking. But again, last year we struggled against the Sixers, the Clippers, and the Bucks before March. And then, I mean, we saw how much that struggle kind of played out. The Lakers flipped the switch after buying or reaching an agreement with Markieff, and then the playoffs happened, and those teams choked while the Lakers took care of business. So, again, we can be hard on this team. We can be as disappointed with certain players as we want. But, again, the Lakers are the defending champions. When they're healthy, they have enough to beat anybody in the NBA, regardless of who they're facing. Doesn't matter if it's Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Don't matter if it's Kawhi, Paul George, and Ibaka. The Lakers do have enough talent on this team to win when they're healthy. It's just they have to be healthy. AD's calf, Achilles, whatever it is, has to heal correctly. He has to be Anthony Davis if we're going to win the NBA Finals, which isn't shocking. He went on a historic run last season, a run that only, I believe, 6 players in NBA history have done in the NBA Finals, where it's 50, 40, 80, something around those lines. So, yeah, when this team is healthy, when this team is as good as it can be, there's no stopping this team, especially when they flip the switch. Earlier in the season, you saw the Lakers kind of play lackadaisical for 3 quarters in the fourth quarter, flip the switch, and shout out to Nick Hamilton. I think we do need another big, but not necessarily to play meaningful minutes. It's just as a precaution, whether Boogie, whether it's JaVale, whether it's Andre Drummond, whether it's somebody else, whether it's Dwayne Dedman. You need another big just in case Gasol's in foul trouble, or just in case he can't play against a certain speedy young center. Because there are times where Marc Gasol does look unplayable on the court, but then you kind of see him make a couple passes, space the floor, and then make a meaningful block or swipe on the other end. So I don't know. I don't know who that big man is, but I do believe we need a big man for insurance purposes. But when it comes down to playoff time, Anthony Davis will be playing the 5. He did it last playoffs. Yes, JaVale and Dwight started the games or whatever, but I believe they only played like 9 minutes a game once the Western Conference Finals and beyond went. Once they actually had to play a big to win, which was AD. So I think a more pressing concern for this team is another wing defender or a guard/wing to defend the likes of Kyrie, Kawhi, and KD, just a match. Someone we wanted last season who I think would have been perfect for the role was Jeff Green. He's with the Nets, so he's out of the question. But the Lakers are interested in PJ Tucker, which I don't know how we would get PJ Tucker on the Lakers, but I think he's more of a concern he's more of a need than a backup big, because you see PJ Tucker play bigger than what he is. So that can go with that, but I don't know. There is no right or wrong answer with who the Lakers need off the bench, just for insurance purposes. Kostas, Cook, and I believe someone else are all taking up spots, and they barely play. So you would like one of those 3 players to actually be able to contribute on any given night. And I believe Kaycock's out there as well as Dudley. So there's 4 or 5 players taking up a roster spot that hasn't basically played a meaningful minute so far this season. So maybe Rob, maybe Jeannie, maybe they do something at the deadline, buyout trade to kind of fix or kind of go for another ring, because yeah, if AD is going to continue to be out, we need something to kind of fill that gap until he's back, especially if we don't want LeBron playing too many minutes. So we'll see where the season goes. Still, we're 22-8, 22-9. So it's not like we need to panic. We've seen this team flip the switch. We've seen AD and LeBron beat these teams when healthy. So like, I don't think anyone needs to worry. And I don't get the Laker fans acting like we can't repeat. I don't get that. We have LeBron and AD. We have a fantastic duo. If they're healthy, I don't think we need to be worried about. We should always go into a series in the playoffs acting like we're the favorites. We have AD, we have LeBron, we're the defending champs. We've seen certain players like KCP step up last season. We've seen certain players like Caruso step up in the playoffs last season. We've seen players like Wes Matthews step up for his team with the Bucks last season. So we have players that can do it. So when everyone's healthy, when the offense is clicking, when this team is actually focused, I don't think we need to be worried about any of that. And if you're actually a diehard Laker fan, you're not thinking that we repeat or giving us a chance to repeat, I don't know what to tell you, because if you've been a fan of a Lakers team that's on the hunt to repeat, we've seen Laker teams in the past not really take regular season seriously. We've seen the Shaq and Kobe Lakers. Like, we saw that. We saw 2001. We saw 2002 where they didn't take shit seriously. So I don't know why you guys are hitting the panic button. If AD is not healthy, then yes, you can panic, whatever. But if AD is healthy, if he comes back 100%, y'all got to relax. I would like to see maybe Vogel, maybe Kidd, maybe somebody tinker something with offensive sets, because a lot of the time our offense does look pretty predictable. It's going to be everyone's on the wing, everyone's going to cut and space the floor for LeBron, and that's it. That's basically all our sets. That's all our motion, and that's it. You would like to see I would like to see less of Trez facing up and shooting. I would like to see a lot less of that. If your back's to the basket, good, and it's in the post, go for it. But I would like to see Montrezl Harrell take less mid-range shots facing up. I don't know why he's taken those, especially over Bam Adebayo and other players, but I don't know. Would I consider picking up DeMarcus Cousins again? I don't know. It just depends on what DeMarcus can give you. Yes, he played well in certain offensive stretches for the Rockets this season, but he's not the athletic rim protector that many people would want this Lakers team to have. So it would basically just be kind of like more Marc Gasol on this team, and I don't know how the people feel about that. I don't know about I don't know. Boogie would be great for team chemistry. He's very close with Braun, very close with AD. I know he and Keith have some bad blood that happened over the last game, but I don't know. Just depends on what the Lakers do with the rest of the roster spots if we do get DeMarcus Cousins. Because if our only solution is DeMarcus Cousins, it's probably not a great solution. But if it's DeMarcus Cousins and other players, then of course. But if our only move is DeMarcus Cousins, I will question what the Lakers did at the deadline. And yeah, the playoffs is a different energy altogether. We saw the Lakers show that last season. We saw them play much harder, take games more seriously than they did in than any other team. You saw when the Lakers got to the bubble, they didn't give a goddamn about the first 8 games. Once a playoff happens, the switch happened. So if we're going to act like regular season doesn't matter, then act like it doesn't matter and only postseason matters. It's strange that the Lakers, other teams get excuses until it's the Lakers, and it's, well, the Lakers should do this, the Lakers should do that. But other teams get excuses like, why are the Clippers below the Lakers? AD's missed a ton of games. Yes, Paul George has missed a ton of games, but AD has missed games. So if we're going to act like this Laker team can't flip the switch because of a 3 out of 4 game losing streak, then what does that say about every other single team? Are you saying that Utah Jazz are going to be the NBA champions because of 28 games during the regular season? I don't know why you guys always go to that deep of a ledge, but it is what it is. If that was the case, the Milwaukee Bucks should have been the champions for the past 2 years, but didn't the Clippers win the first 2 games of the series last year? Cool. And we saw how that season turned out, right? And I believe they beat us opening night last year without, was it Paul George or did Kawhi not play? One of those players was out while both Anthony Davis and LeBron James played. And the Lakers still ended up winning the finals. So if we're going to overreact to 1 game against the Clippers in the regular season, holy hell. Makes me question a lot about whoever the hell you are. If you're scared or whatever about 1 regular season game against the Los Angeles Clippers, who've never made a Western Conference Finals. I'll just get that out of the way. But anyways, this has been Daniel Beltz from the King Watch LA podcast. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow on Twitter. Yeah, King Watch LA on Twitter as well. I'm there almost every day tweeting about just basically all things Lakers mixed in with some Marvel stuff. I don't know if you guys watch WandaVision, but if you guys have not, I suggest you guys watch that. I believe the last 2 episodes of the season will get really crazy. And if what I've heard leaked is correct, this next episode is going to be nuts. But yeah, again, this has been Daniel Beltz from the King Watch LA podcast. I'll probably be coming to you guys live on either Tuesday or Wednesday night. Wanted to do this after the Nets game, but got a little too carried away with a gummy. So yeah, make sure you guys follow, subscribe, like, and whatever. And yes, Clippers are different. So the Lakers. We'll see what happens when the chips meet. A second round matchup between the Lakers and Clippers would be fire, and I hope it happens. Because I want the Lakers to beat the best teams out there in their quest for a championship. I don't want to play the Houston Rockets like we did last season in the second round. I don't want to play the Denver Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals. I wanted it to be Blazers, somebody, Clippers, and then the Bucks last season for the Lakers. I wanted that because I want to beat the best of the best. So we hope certain teams don't duck us like they did last year, but you can only play who's in front of you. And I don't think a LeBron James and an AD-led team should shy away from any team in the playoffs or in the regular season or whatever. Whenever we're at our healthiest, yeah. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and you guys have a great day. And hopefully the Lakers can start making threes. I'll catch you guys later.